Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Blaze once again. Now, first off, yes, I know the last tutorial was kind of dumb, but I had good reasons. I want you guys to be able to follow with me. So, now that we've gone through all that, I'm going to go ahead and get into the fun stuff. So, a couple of you are probably going, well, Blaze, aren't we going to get into, like, modeling and stuff like that? Yes, we are. Today, we're actually going to do simple modeling, okay? First off, we're going to make a cube right here in the polygons tab. And we're going to do a small building. Something simple, something easy. I need you all to either follow along with me or at least kind of get an idea of what you're doing. So over here we go into Attribute Editor and we click the first tab. Now the reason why this is important is if we put 000 in the translate over in here, it'll actually center our piece. Now, right now, this thing is perfectly centered. The issue is if you notice, it's going below our grid. Generally, I like to work above the grid. You don't have to. Matter of fact, if you don't even like the grid, there's a button right over here. It'll literally say grid, and you can even turn it off. Personally, I like it there just as a reference. Frankly, it's not necessary, but it does help, especially if you want to get stuff exact. Now, another thing you can do is over here there's a button that gives you kind of a 4 view. If you click this, it'll split your view into 4. Okay? This is the top, this is the front, and then this is the side. Generally, this is going to be really good for character modeling, but for now we really don't need it. We're just going to stick with perspective. If you press spacebar when you're selecting the view that you want most, it'll instantly go to that one. And then you can just, I believe if you hit spacebar again, it goes right back to the last version of this you went to. So, now we've got this down. Let's get started. So we got ourselves a pretty regular cube, but I don't like its shape. So we're going to kind of move this around using the movement tool. Just for the record, Q will give you your select, W will give you your move, E will give you your rotate, and R is going to give you your scaling tool. Okay? So that's just a heads up. If you press and hold your right click, you'll be able to actually select faces, UVs, verts, and edges. Generally, when working with a hard surface model, you want to work with faces. Even working with character models, faces is a good one. So we're just going to go with that for now. So let's see. We want something of a shack. So I'm gonna make it kind of cartoony here. And let's grab this bottom area here. And there we go. So gonna pop a extrude here once again. And this time we're doing this more for a bottom plane. Check this out. So if we move this, you'll notice I'm breaking mesh. And you're going, why the hell are you doing that? Well, watch. If you press G, G will replicate the last special tool you used. Or whatever this is down here. I can now pull this up and it stops breaking the mesh. So let's go ahead and shrink this using our scale. You're going, oh, it's a damn mushroom. It is a mushroom. I ain't gonna lie about it. So let's see. We're trying to do cartoon. By the way, if you press 1, you'll get this view right here. 2 will give you the outline, but it'll smooth everything out. And then 3 will just give you the smooth version. So, and you can actually use a special render tool, which we'll go over some other time, to get this. But if you're using default Maya, you're only going to get these blocks. Also, excuse me for the cough. Okay. So, let's see. We want this to have an actual roof. So, let's take this and squeeze it in a bit. And then dip it a little bit, you know? Give it some volume. And then let's see. we need a door. So we're going to try to replicate this as best we can. Actually, you know what? I take that back. Let's take a couple steps back by hitting Control Z. Okay, just gotta make sure. We're gonna actually split this up a bit. So we're going to go over here, click Polygon, Edit Mesh, and insert Edge Loop. There we go. And we're actually going to cut this. Now, if you double click your tool over here, it'll open up tool settings. You can also go over here and click on tool settings as well. Alright? But what we're doing is, since we're using a insert loop tool, right, we're going to actually do multiple edge loops. And what this is going to do is it's going to set even space between the edge loops and give you a couple of them. This is perfect for what we're about to do. And boom. And if you notice, that cuts right through everything. Now, the reason why I did this is because now we can actually take this face, hit our Q, and now we've got a bare spot for our door. It's not making that huge, ginormous area. And back again, and now we're going to go into our mesh and turn around, because what we want to do is we actually want to give an inside to this place, you know? And yoink, click this. It doesn't have to be big because we have no intention of putting anything inside this little shed, but we want to be able to do something with it, you know? And if you really wanted to, you could actually just try to match up the walls as best you can on the inside and build an inside, but I'll leave that to you guys. So, that, and we're just doing basic modeling. Like, I have no intention of actually working heavy into this. I'm more or less just showing you guys. Oh yeah, if you double click on an edge, it will loop around, okay? Now, this is something very important. Edge loops are weird in the fact that it's going to try to connect the best loop possible. However, you're going to notice when we do character models, sometimes the edge loop like stops at certain intervals. You gotta be careful of that. We're gonna get into that more when we do character modeling, but for now, we're, like I said, just gonna keep it simple and just gonna try to do our best. So, we want this edge to stay sharp. So we're going to do a bevel. Now there's a couple different ways you can actually make that sharp. One of them is using edge loops, but I like to use a bevel personally. And we're going to do 3 segments, and we're going to drop this quite a bit so it's not, a huge width. And check this. If I hit apply, not sure if that's the way I want it. But all the same, let's zoom in. If you press F, it'll zoom in for you. And take a look. There's a nice trim edge there. And you're going, why do you want that trim edge? Well, here's the thing. If we do smooth our building, boom, looks really weird. But if you notice, this edge is still really sharp. By adding that extra bevel, it basically tells the smooth that, no, you got smooth within these small boundaries. So that's what we're trying to do. And we're going to hit G and replicate that there. And replicate it here, here. Oh, see, here's an example of that edge loop thing I was telling you about. Notice I double clicked, but it only gave me this one line. It's because this edge loop is kind of funky. It doesn't really like stuff like this for some reason. So we gotta go in and manually select all this. Anyways, G, and boom, that one's done. So now if I hit my 3, look at that. It's almost like a quickie mark, doesn't it? So now what we want to do is, using the same tools we have been, do the same thing to this door. Boom. Ooh. That didn't work how I hoped it would. Okay, So let's hit Control Z. And instead, let's nail these edges. Now you guys hopefully are working with me, you know. And we'll hit G. Whoa. That was weird. Let's try this again. Bevel. Yeah, that's really weird. Is it due to these? Ah, it is. Okay, now this is where we're running into problems. Since we're doing a hard surface, it doesn't matter as much, but we're getting triangles right here. If this was a character, we actually have to fix that. But, yeah, it looks like we can't do it this way. Okay, well I guess I'll have to show you guys the other way. See, this is why I'm doing these tutorials, because it allows me to actually show you problems that legitimately come up. So, insert edge loop tool. Oh, I forgot we still had on that. So let's do this. The top one is relative distance from edge. So you get to actually select where you want your edge loops. So we'll do one right there, one right here, one right here, and then one, two right here. Ah, look at that. Oh, didn't mean to do that. We got ourselves a couple of awkward edges. What we want to do is we want to... Oh, okay, I see what's going on. I'm going to bring those back up. There we go. There we go. Ah, that's much better. So see, now we got a simple building. And no problems, really. So let's go ahead and we're going to make a couple of windows. Once again, this is us just playing around so that you guys can get a feel. We'll pop in extrude. And we're going to do like this. Okay? Now we're going to hit G. Do it one more time. Okay? And we're going to select these inner edges. Now, this is where it gets fun because we want to watch how far we pull out. And boom. Now, here's where it gets interesting. If you hit G again, we can pull a little bit and create our own edge loops to keep that inner area as safe as possible. And then insert edge loop tool. And we want to try and get as close in here as possible. But we also want to get in here. The reason being is because we don't want this part to screw up, but the outside to be fine. So now let's replicate this. Don't feel bad if you can't get it, exact. I'm actually going to show you a character model sometime later. And we're going to go over how to actually mirror an object, which will give you these edges on both sides equally. But for now, once again, just kind of messing around. Oh wow, that looks kind of weird. It's like a face. So, since we got ourselves an awkward face, we're gonna select these. And, oh, that one selected alright. Okay. And we're gonna do another bevel. Okay. There we go. Still a bit of a funky place. But take a look. We have ourselves a cartoony little shack or house. Now, if you wanted to make a door for this, you essentially want to make another polygon. Okay? And we're going to try to match up this thing as much as possible. Now, what we want to do is we want to make it just a little bit smaller than the original hole, just so that we can get some good swing value here. So here's the thing. If you notice, with this colored in, we can't do much. So we're going to click this button right here. I believe it's 4 as the hotkey, and then 5 as the shader. So essentially what we want to do is match this up as best we can. See, we can even use our translate here to even it out. And we're going to go back and forth between shader and whatnot. Ooh, that was weird. Okay. So, just real quick, I'm going to yoink this thing. Just gotta pull it out. Because you gotta remember, we got an inlet in there, because we put it in there. So that bottom piece has to come in a bit more. And boom. We don't want a thick door, we just want a door, lack of better terms. See, this is where it starts getting tricky, because you gotta get stuff kind of exact if you wanna. There we go. And then we take this, bring it up, and boom. We have ourselves a door. Now, using the same method we used to build the house, we can actually go in and do a lot with this. Frankly, I'm just gonna yoink this thing out real quick though. And we really just want this thing to stay as rigid as possible. You could either A, choose not to use the smooth button, or B, you can choose to just bevel these ends. That's what I'm going to do, is I'm just going to bevel them. Now check this out. So if we select object and we select object and we hit 3, we get something like this. That doesn't work, right? We need this bottom to match up with this bottom. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a, oh, wrong button. My bad. We're going to match this up as best we can. Object, hit 3, hit 3, and we have ourselves a door. And look at that. So, this is just a simple model. We could doll it up, we could put a bunch of textures on it, we could have a lot of fun with this. But just for an introduction, just to kind of show you guys around the stuff, and kind of give you an idea of like my workflow and whatnot, this worked out just fine. So, I bet you guys are going, well, what if I want to do a normal house? Well, I'm just going to do something real quick. We're going to move this off to the side. Let's do a regular house, and using the same techniques we just did, I'm going to extrude, pop this in. We'll do this. We're going to pop this up. And then, you know, we need trim and whatnot. So we're going to pull this out a bit. And it's the same exact process. between cartoony and realistic, what you want to do is essentially make your edges and build off of them. There's not really much to it once you understand these basics, but hard surface objects aren't that hard to really do. Essentially, it's all the same process, and you're going to end up doing the same thing a dozen times over and over and over again. And let's see, for a door we want like this, drop it down just a notch, and boom. And if you notice, we've already got a normal house going with little bits of trim and everything else. And if you've got a weird side room, you just pull out using the extrude tool and do like this. It's literally this simple, okay? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. My name has been Blaze. It has been a pleasure to have you guys here. And once again, I plan on doing more tutorials. This was just something to kind of get you guys in the groove. Next time, I actually promise we're going to do something a bit more interesting, and maybe we'll do a real house if you guys want. Or, let's get into organics. Let me see what you guys say in the comments, and we'll take our tutorial either organic, or maybe we'll try more hard surfaces and play around with those. Oh, and before I leave, this thing needs a window, but when I'm doing a regular house, I like my windows a bit more interesting. So I'm gonna do that real quick, and then I'll leave you guys go. I'll probably start up the music here, and either that or fast forward this a bit. So see you guys next time.